taking himself too seriously, his performances at the Sands Hotel drew big crowds, from celebrities to politicians, all eager to see the King of Cool in action. Dean Martin became a star on television with The Dean Martin Show, which aired from 1965 to 1974. Over 9 years, it became one of the most popular shows on NBC, running for 264 episodes. The show was a mix of comedy, music, and celebrity guests, and what made it so special was Martin himself. He had a laid-back style, always looking cool and relaxed, often holding a drink he joked was apple juice. People loved him because he seemed like someone who didn't take life too seriously. On the show, Martin didn't just sing hits like Everybody Loves Somebody and That's Amore, he also showed off his funny side. There were scripted jokes, but he loved to improvise, making each episode feel fresh and unpredictable. Big stars like Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., and Orson Welles were regular guests, and their playful banter with Martin made viewers feel like they were part of a private Hollywood party. The show became so big that Martin won a Golden Globe in 1966-67 for his performance, proving just how much people loved his easygoing charm. But as time went on, the show's ratings started to slip. Instead of giving up, the producers came up with a brilliant idea, Dean Martin's Celebrity Roast. This new format featured Martin and a group of celebrities poking fun at one famous person in a friendly, light-hearted way. The first roast aired in 1974, honoring Bob Hope. It was such a hit that the roasts became a regular event, even after the main show ended. Martin was the perfect host for these roasts. He made everyone laugh with his sharp, witty jokes while keeping the mood fun and relaxed. The roasts featured actors, musicians, and even politicians, giving people a chance to see celebrities joking with and about each other in ways they couldn't anywhere else. The humor was edgy but never mean-spirited, and viewers loved seeing stars show their playful sides. Dean Martin's personal life was as interesting as his career. He was married 3 times and had 8 children. His first wife, Betty MacDonald, married him in 1941. They had 4 children, Craig, Claudia, Gail, and Deanna. Their marriage ended in 1949, just as Dean was becoming famous. Even after the divorce, Dean stayed close to his children, making time for them despite his busy life. Later, in 1949, Dean married Jean Bega. This marriage lasted 24 years and felt more stable than his first. They had 3 children together, Dean Paul, Ricky, and Gina. Even though Dean and Jean divorced in 1973, they stayed friends. They worked together to raise their kids and supported each other during tough times. Dean's third marriage, in 1973, was to Catherine Horn. Catherine was younger and worked as a receptionist when they met. Dean adopted her daughter, Sasha, and treated her like his own child. However, their marriage didn't last long, and they divorced in 1976. Despite the breakup, Dean remained a caring father to Sasha. Through all these changes, Dean's role as a father stayed constant. He had 8 children, and no matter how busy or famous he became, he always tried to be there for them. His daughter, Deanna, often talks about her father's love for family. She remembers having dinner together and seeing how much he cared. Growing up, she was surrounded by big Hollywood stars like Frank Sinatra and Marilyn Monroe, but what stood out the most was Dean's warmth and humor as a dad. Dean made sure all his kids felt connected, even though they came from different marriages. His son Ricky once said that their father brought the family together and made them feel like one. Sasha, his adopted daughter, was treated the same as everyone else. This shows how much Dean valued family, no matter how complicated his life was. Dean also had a charm that attracted many women, leading to famous romances with stars like Angie Dickinson and Dinah Shore. These relationships often made headlines and added to his image as the King of Cool. But behind the public persona, he was a man who cared deeply about his children. In 1987, his son Dean Paul Martin died in a plane crash. Dean Paul was flying a military jet during a training mission when it crashed into a mountain. He was only 35. The loss broke Martin's heart. friends noticed he became quieter and more withdrawn. He also struggled with drinking after the tragedy. This event changed everything for him. After his son's death, Martin decided to stop performing. He turned down offers and even ended a reunion tour with Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. He didn't want the pressure of public life anymore. Instead, he focused on simple things that made him happy. Golf became one of his favorite hobbies. He spent afternoons on the golf course, enjoying the peace and quiet. He also loved watching old Western movies, which reminded him of a simpler time. These quiet routines brought him some comfort in his later years. Declared war on your citizens. The state should not be negotiating with those people. Do you hear that? The state knows who the killers are. The communities know who they are, yet nothing happens. We are talking about a network of professional killers who have terrorized South Africa for decades. They have killed whistleblowers, eliminated political opponents, and wiped out councillors who refuse to be corrupt. Comrades, when a former president stands up and says, "They tried to kill me," do we really think he's lying? Or do we think he's speaking about something much bigger? The assassination culture in this country runs deep. This isn't just about Zuma. It's about a pattern. In 2016, councillors were convicted of assassinating Thulin Ndlovu, an activist fighting corruption. Since 2011, 21 members of the National Freedom Party have been assassinated. 10 elected representatives from the IFP have been murdered. Today, dozens of whistleblowers and political activists live in fear for their lives. This is not a democracy. This is a battlefield. Comrades, what does all this tell us? It tells us that South Africa's political struggle is not just about elections. It's about who gets to survive in this system. It's about who holds the real power. Jacob Zuma stood on that stage and said they tried to kill him. He spoke about spies. He spoke about attempts on his life. Yet we are told not to take him seriously. Meanwhile, Julius Malema warns us that the hitmen are still walking free, still taking lives, still controlling South Africa's political game. This is not just history, comrades. This is happening right now. And the question is, what are we going to do about it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this video. Make your voice heard. Because in a country where silence means death, we will not be silent.